crying? Okay, let's call Papa to get.
Angela Simmons, the daughter of hip-hop royalty, entrepreneur, and reality TV star, sitting at home thinking about her situation with Yo Gotti. Their names have been tied together in headlines, their romance has been dissected on social media, and fans are constantly guessing where things stand between them. Now, instead of sending a risky text, posting something cryptic online, or sparking speculation with a public move, Angela decides to play a different kind of game, one that's both deeply personal and, let's be honest, a little bit strategic. The story goes that she involved her son in a phone call that was so simple, yet so powerful, that Yo Gotti couldn't ignore it. And this is where things start to get really interesting. Here's the alleged move. Angela, knowing exactly how to tug on the heartstrings, reportedly encouraged her young son to pick up the phone and call Yo Gotti, not to ask for toys, not to talk about school, but to say something that no father, or even a father figure, could ignore. The boy is said to have told Yo Gotti directly, "I miss you, Daddy." And that's the kind of message that hits differently. When it comes from the innocent voice of a child, it's not something you can dismiss or brush off. It's not like a text from an ex that you can leave on read. It's not a staged post that you can scroll past. It's real, it's raw, it's emotional, and it leaves you with no choice but to feel something. That right there was Angela's ace card. If you step back and look at it, Angela Simmons' move here wasn't just about her wanting to see Yo Gotti. It was about creating a situation where his presence became necessary. Think about it. If she had called him directly, he could have made excuses. If she sent a message, he could have ignored it. If she tried to show up at an event, it might have looked messy or desperate. But having her son deliver the message, that's an entirely different ballgame. A child's voice cuts through all the noise, all the excuses, and all the ego. It creates a sense of urgency. Yo Gotti couldn't exactly say, "I'll hit you back later," to that. He'd have to act. And by choosing that method, Angela shifted the dynamic completely in her favor. She wasn't chasing him. She was setting the stage so that he had to come to her. Let's really unpack why this worked. Yo Gotti, beyond the fame and the business, is still a man with a heart. He's made it clear in interviews that family matters to him, that loyalty is a big part of how he operates. So when a kid calls him saying he misses his daddy, it strikes a nerve. Whether you believe Angela orchestrated this moment or not, you can't deny that it hit him on a personal level. Even if there's tension between the adults, no man wants to be seen as cold or distant when it comes to a child. And Angela knew that. She leveraged emotion in a way that most adults never would dare to, because it can easily cross into manipulation. But in her case, it came across as genuine, because at the core of it, the boy does miss him. That authenticity makes it nearly impossible to ignore. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Angela Simmons has always been smart about how she moves. She knows how to balance public perception with private decisions. On one hand, she presents herself as a loving mother and savvy businesswoman. On the other hand, she also knows that in the world of celebrity relationships, every move is magnified. By using her son's voice as the bridge to Yo Gotti, she not only ensured a private meeting on her terms, but she also kept the move off the public stage. At least at first. This wasn't a messy Instagram live. It wasn't a shady tweet. It was a personal, emotional maneuver that spoke volumes without Angela having to say a single word herself. And that's where you see her strategic side shine through. However, it began, as most great Hollywood schemes do, with a woman who refused to be ignored. Angela had long admired Yo Gotti, not just for his chart-topping hits or his empire-building acumen, but for the aura he carried, that rare blend of street authenticity and fatherly warmth, the kind of man who could drop a trap anthem and then show up at a youth center with backpacks and school supplies. She'd followed his career for years, liked his posts, commented with fire emojis, even sent a couple of carefully worded, professionally polite direct messages, all of which vanished into the digital abyss. Unanswered, unacknowledged, like so many others before them. She wasn't bitter, she was strategic. And when traditional avenues of connection failed, Angela did what any resourceful, slightly unhinged, wildly creative woman in her position would do. She invented a new one. One lazy Sunday afternoon, curled up on her cream velvet sectional with her phone in one hand and a half-eaten plate of sushi in the other, Angela watched her son Jagger, tousled blonde curls, big, curious eyes, the kind of kid who could melt glaciers with his smile, building a Lego fortress on the floor. He was humming along to a Yo Gotti song that had been looping on her Spotify all week, and in that quiet, syrupy moment, the idea struck her like lightning. What if she didn't ask Yo Gotti for a meeting? What if she created a scenario so emotionally compelling, so irresistibly human, that he wouldn't just respond, he'd show up, not as a celebrity doing a favor, but as a man answering a child's cry, a child who claimed to miss him. The plan was audacious. Some might say unethical, others genius. Angela would have Jagger place a FaceTime call to Yo Gotti, not from a burner phone or a fake account, but from her own verified blue-check device, and deliver a single line with the kind of heartbreaking sincerity only a 5-year-old can muster. "I miss you, my daddy." No context, no explanation. Just that. The emotional grenade, the psychological tripwire. She knew Yo Gotti was a father himself. She knew his public persona revolved around loyalty, responsibility, showing up when it mattered. And she knew, deep in her bones, that no man, especially not one who raps about being that dude who always comes through, could ignore a child saying they missed him. Even if it wasn't true, even if it was a setup. Especially if it was a setup. And she spent the next hour coaching Jagger like a Broadway director prepping a child star for opening night. She explained it was a game, like when he pretended his stuffed bear was the mayor of Toyland. Only this time, the character was Yo Gotti, the pretend daddy. She rehearsed the line with him over and over until he could deliver it with the perfect blend of sweetness and sorrow. She made sure his hair was combed, his pajamas were cute, dinosaur print for maximum effect, and even lit a vanilla candle nearby. Ambiance matters, after all, and fluffed the pillows behind him so the background looked cozy, lived in, and just vulnerable enough to tug at heartstrings. Then, with a deep breath and a silent prayer to the gods of chaotic good energy, she pressed call.
The phone rang 3 times. 4, 5. Angela's palms were sweating. Jagger looked nervous but committed, clutching the edge of the couch like a tiny actor waiting for his cue. And then the screen flickered. The call connected. There he was, Yo Gotti, in his bedroom, probably just woken from a nap. Hair slightly messy, wearing a black fitted cap backward, blinking at the screen like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And then Jagger spoke, softly, sweetly, with just the right tremble in his voice. "Hi, Mr. Gotti. I miss my daddy." The silence that followed was thick enough to slice. Yo Gotti didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. His expressions cycled through confusion, concern, suspicion, dawning realization, and finally, amusement. He sat up straighter, took off his hat, rubbed his face like a man trying to wake up from a very strange dream. And then, just as he was about to respond, Angela slid into frame, hair suddenly perfect, lips glossed, smiling like a game show host who just won a new car. She didn't apologize, didn't explain, just waved cheerfully, and said, well, she didn't say anything because this is the narrator-only version, but you could see in her eyes, "Gotcha." Of course, this kind of move doesn't come without criticism. Some people online are already debating whether Angela crossed a line by involving her child in this situation. Was it a clever use of emotional leverage, or was it unfair to put her son in the middle of adult business? Opinions are divided. Some fans are defending her, saying she's simply fostering a bond between her son and Yo Gotti, and that the love and affection are real. Others, though, feel like this was a calculated step, one that blurs the line between parenting and manipulation. And in the celebrity world, perception is everything. Whether people believe Angela's intentions were pure or strategic, the move sparked conversation, which in itself keeps her name trending and the story alive. At the end of the day, what Angela Simmons did was bold, intentional, and undeniably effective. By having her son deliver that heartfelt message to Yo Gotti, she created a moment that demanded a response. And from what we're hearing, it worked. Yo Gotti showed up. Whether you see that as a power play, a genuine act of love, or a bit of both, one thing is clear. Angela Simmons knows how to get results. This moment reminds us that in the game of celebrity relationships, sometimes it's not about who texts first or who posts the loudest online. Sometimes it's about who understands the power of emotion and how to use it. Angela understood that, and she played her hand perfectly. But here's the real question. Do you think Angela Simmons was being smart, or do you think she crossed a line by putting her son in that position? Was this a genius move that shows how clever she is? Or is it a little bit too manipulative, even for celebrity standards? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more breakdowns of celebrity stories and drama, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, this story is far from over.